Hello again, everyone. My name is James Shotwell. This is the Music Biz channel, and today we're talking about merch. In order to do this right, let's be honest for a second. You make music, you want to make a living with your music, but if we're being completely truthful with one another, we both know music alone is not going to pay your bills. That's not how the industry works anymore. People used to buy albums and you used to make dollars for every single album sold, but these days people stream music and you make pennies or fractions of a penny for every album that they stream. It takes a lot more to make money from your music, but there's always merchandise. And that's where people are making money today. In fact, a recent report found that in the last year, Harry Styles made over $22 million from merchandise sales alone. Now, if you need a reminder, there was basically no touring last year, and yet Harry Styles brought in $22 million from his merchandise. That's absolutely impressive. And while I cannot guarantee I can get you $22 million, I can give you some advice as to why you need more merch in more varieties as soon as possible without breaking your bank. So let's get into it. Now, merchandise being important to an artist's bottom line is certainly not groundbreaking information. I'm pretty sure that we all know merchandise is important, but far too many artists are settling for having a very small selection of merchandise as a means to either cut costs or just cut down on the amount of stuff they have to carry around from show to show. For example, a lot of artists will have one or two t-shirt designs, one hoodie design, and then they're selling whatever their latest release is. That's like the bare minimum setup. And for a lot of artists, they will keep those 3 designs or maybe 2 designs split between different variations of cloth for months, if not a year or more. They will just kind of become the default look of fans of that band. And there's something to be said about that. I mean, there's a sense of community knowing that everyone will recognize a shirt or a logo if they see it out in the wild. But if you really want to be making money and you want to keep your fans engaged and you want to have even more branding out there in the world, we've got to think bigger. And I know what you're worried about. You're worried about costs. You're worried about what you have to carry around with you. You're worried about whether or not things are going to sell. And I'm going to help you make the right choices for your career. So let's just talk about designs for a second. Now, most of us know that shirts are based on the number of colors that are put into the shirt, as well as the number of shirts that you plan to print. Well, for starters, let's keep things simple. I always encourage artists to do as many 1 to 2 color single-sided designs as possible because those cost the least to print and to do them at volume. But we live in the age of the internet, and now there's a whole new world of shopping available to musicians. Whether you're trying to make t-shirts and sweatshirts or socks or shoes or notebooks or posters or a wide variety of things, there are all these specialty retailers online who are willing to print things on demand for you at a relatively decent cost. I know that there are certain stores that will print merch on demand for as little as $10 or $12 a shirt, and you get to set the price on the other side of that. So the company will say, we'll print any shirt as soon as it's ordered and ship it for you for $10. How much do you want to sell that shirt for? And then you can set a price that makes sense for your career. And let me tell you why that's so cool in the age of the internet. Because now there's no limit to the amount of designs you can have. Your merch store could have 30 designs. And while you only actually tour with a handful of them on hand at any time, you could have those designs available 24/7, 365 on the internet. If someone orders it, a third party will print that shirt, put it in an envelope, slap a sticker on it, and send it off to them. Your work, your input, the amount of time you have to spend on this once it's set up, incredibly minimal. And that's what I'm trying to get at in this video. In the day that we live in right now, just printing a bunch of merch, putting it in boxes, and shipping it out when people want it is not enough. You're cutting yourself off at the ankles. You're not doing enough to keep your career moving forward. Now, we live in a time where people are always wanting new content, always wanting something new, always wanting that next announcement. And limited edition merch or merch that is exclusively available online and printed on demand whenever somebody places an order, that is the future. That is what you should be doing. You could easily put out a new shirt design every single month. Or to be more creative, you could do any type of merch item, but one new merch item every single month. Or you could take a note from bands like Ice Nine Kills and Grayscale and Slipknot and The Weeknd and other artists by doing these limited edition drops where everything is themed. So for October, like where it is right now when I'm recording this video, maybe it's a whole bunch of spooky shirt designs, or maybe you have orange merch because it's Halloween, and for Christmas you do red and green and all of that. Themes, limited edition drops, regular drops, all of these things are doable for artists at every level of the game because the amount of money you have to spend up front is virtually nothing. If you have design skills, it's going to cost you nothing to fill your store with dozens of designs that are available on demand whenever people want them. And if you don't have that skill, well then let's think of it this way. All you have to pay for is the designer, and then you can do all the merch stuff yourself. So you're still saving money and making more options available for your audience. And speaking of variety, which I think is key here, people don't just want t-shirts and hoodies anymore. I mean, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm in my 30s right now. The amount of times I want to leave the house wearing a shirt that has a giant band logo on it is not as high as it used to be, but I still love the bands that I love, and I discover new artists that I like all the time, and I want to support them. Sometimes I'll just donate money on Venmo or PayPal if that's an option. Of course, I buy music from time to time, but what I really want is just merch that I can have in my everyday life. Some great examples of things that I have bought in recent weeks. I've bought a pair of socks from several different artists that I think were very cool. I've bought a hat, I bought a notebook, I've bought keychains. I know friends who buy rolling papers, who buy grinders, who buy sticker packs, who buy pens. The number of things that you can make and sell on a merch table are relatively endless these days. And your fans want the variety because they might not want to wear a shirt with your name on it every single day, but they might love you enough to want to just carry a piece of you everywhere they go. And that's where the keychains and the lighters and all the little tiny stuff comes into play. Just something that keeps your name on their mind, or maybe it's something that people see and ask them about, so it comes up in conversation. But the more branded items you have out there, the higher the likelihood that someone's going to see it and take an interest in what it is that you do, create, make, have to say. But when I talk about this, when I talk about having a lot of merch and having a lot of variety, something that people always say to me is, who's going to buy this? I mean, at best, most artists sell one merch design to one person per sale. Most people don't buy one of everything, but certain fans do. And as we always talk about here, it's about building up those die-hard fans. You know, when people talk about the 1,000 fan theory or the 100 fan theory even, it's all about having these people who are willing to do anything to see you succeed. And as you grow your career, you're going to amass more and more of these people. And those are the high ticket spenders. Now, a great way to think about this is that your most devoted fans will want to do everything in their power to support you. So if you have 2 shirts, a hoodie, and your album on your merch store, and I can buy all of it for $125, well, that's how much money you're going to get from that diehard fan because you don't have any more merch. You might not be playing in their town anytime soon. They'll give you that money and then they'll move on. But if you have new designs all the time, or maybe you have a merch store that has 10 different shirt designs in it, your diehard fans and even those who just like you a lot, they're going to want more than one thing. They're going to want to have the next thing and the next thing. And if the quality is high enough and they continue to love your music, over time they're going to want all of it. So when you do a limited edition drop that maybe has 3 or 4 designs in it, they'll just buy all 4 of them because at this point it's become a collector's item. There are all these limited edition shirts that are here today, gone tomorrow, or only exist online, and you have to know where to look to find them. And that exclusivity creates a demand that inherently isn't there just at face value. But if you keep going and you keep making new designs, you keep making things available, the people who really love your music, they will keep buying. So let's go back to that original example where I said you had 2 shirts, a hoodie, and your music on your web store, buying one of everything added up to $125. Well, what if we had 5 shirts and a couple of hoodies and the EP and then a lighter and some rolling papers? Well, now maybe we could charge $300, $400, even $500 for all of this merch. Our diehard fans are going to then spend $500 as opposed to $125. And most of it, we didn't have to actually make and carry around ourselves. Third parties are printing stuff and sending it to our fans for us if they're doing it online. And if they're buying it in person, well, we already have it with us, so why not just make the most of it? The point I'm trying to make here, and what I want you to carry with you after this video ends, is that we cannot go backwards. We're not going to return to a time where a new album drops and the vast majority of that person's listeners buy the record with $10, $15, $20, and the artist takes a chunk of that change and they just sell thousands and thousands or millions and millions of records. Some artists will still do that, but the vast majority will not. Instead, music is going to become increasingly devalued as streaming becomes increasingly ubiquitous. And as a result, artists hoping to make a good living will need to look in different places to find out how to make money. And the best way to do that right now at least, is through merchandising and giving your fans tons of merch options. So use these on-demand services. If you are going on tour, try to add 1 or 2 extra pieces of merch. Now, it doesn't have to be a shirt or a sweatshirt. Like I said, it could be any of these items. And if you're thinking, well, I don't know if we can sell it on this tour, then start thinking about your merch in terms of long term. What's something that you could carry for the next 6 months and continue to promote and sell for as long as it's available? Maybe those are beanies, maybe those are lighters. It could be anything in the world, but try to find a few new items, throw it out there, see how your fans react. Don't go big on spending or investing or producing unless the demand is already there. Until that case, do small batch runs, do limited runs, do on demand only. Because as we keep moving forward, the artists who can find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or more different revenue streams are the ones who are going to have these long-lasting careers. The road cannot sustain everyone. Streaming alone cannot sustain practically anyone. You're going to have to diversify, and an easy and efficient way to do that your fans will love is giving them more options. So get out there and do that. But of course, you might have some questions. You might not know exactly what you're doing or the right way to say everything, and that's why this channel exists. Music Biz is here to help you navigate the modern music business. Each week we present videos on social media, marketing, distribution, publishing, record deals, and so much more. So if you have any questions at all, click that subscribe button down below. And if you don't see a video that covers the topic you're interested in, leave us a comment, and I promise you we will do our best to get to it. I read every single comment people leave, and I cherish the ones that are good and the ones that are bad. I just want to hear from you. So please let us know about your journey. Let us know what you're working on. Let us know where we can find you online and support you. And if you've already joined this community, then I thank you so much for your support. You make this show possible, and I cannot wait to engage with you again. But until that time, take care of yourself, because you deserve it.